Hello traders, wonderful week to all. Vladimir Ribakov here from Traders Academy Club. Welcome to the weekly Forex forecast for the week starting of 8 to the 13th of September 2019. First of all, for all those of you who have little kids, I would like to wish them a very successful year in their new classes in schools, kindergarten, wherever they are, and I hope they will enjoy it. I hope they will meet real friends for lifetime, and that everything goes as you want and as they want themselves. Now let's begin, and if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome to the community. I would like to invite you to subscribe right below the video and to enable the ring button for notifications. Leave your comments if you enjoy my work and if you find it useful for your trading. Feel free to share the video with anyone. This is open for the community. Join the free Telegram channel we have for the community. We upload a great content on daily basis there for the community, completely free. And the most important, join the live trading rooms with the link below in the description, where we go live every single day over all the trading opportunities we have and back up that with full detailed trading reports, so everything is easy for you in your trading. Now let's go to the charts. Let's go to the blog. On Monday, as every week, I will publish the weekly forecast in a text format. So just go to the blog vladimirribakov.com. Let's change the color of the virtual pen right here, vladimirribakov.com, and on Monday it will be published, or just come back to the video, and below in the description and in the comments you would find the direct link to this text format. This text format is for your convenience, so you can always come back and refer to the trading ideas shared. Now, since on the previous week, oh, by the way, very important thing to mention, we now offer great help to other languages. We started with 2S for now, Arabic and Spanish. So for your comfort, if you feel more comfortable with that, you can follow that here with all the trading ideas that we discuss on daily basis. Now, since the previous week there was no weekly forecast as I was away, we will be now reviewing that couple of weeks ago forecast to see what worked, what failed, what's still developing, what's still relevant, what's still tradable, and prepare the new plan for the coming week. Meanwhile, during the week, I uploaded to the YouTube channel the daily trading ideas, and right now on the right side of the video you would see direct link to this playlist where you on daily basis you receive a nice trading opportunity to enjoy from. And the last week we had several. We had New Zealandian CAD long, Euro pound short, Euro Swiss longs, and the gold sell. All of them worked wonderful. So it was a very successful week. Once again, if you did not watch them right now, on the right corner you would be able to find this direct playlist to the inside the YouTube channel, where you would be able to enjoy the videos. And if you still new to that, once again, just subscribe and you would be notified when the new video is available for you. And now let's begin with the pound Australian. Our plan here was very simple. We were following this structure of triple double cycle with 3 waves down, 2 waves correction right to the middle of the entire move, 50% Fibonacci, and expected to see reverses happen. On the shorter view, we wanted to see some price action creating some fight here before it turns down. So let's take a look, where do we stand with that. This is our structure, right? and that's the two waves. Now on the shorter term we wanted to see this fighting back and forth, right? And here we are making the move down, making the rally. It did not manage to create a new high, but it was blocked on the very massive resistance area, as you can see right here, around the psychological 182.50, quarter of a round number, and blocked with the bearish divergence, starting the move to the downside. So my personal view did not change. I still expect that this will be the continuation lower. From that price we can see direct movement. We can see some fight here again. It doesn't matter. Our expectation that this would be developing the second leg to the downside, so sell the rallies was and will remain the plan. The next one we were following was the Australian versus the New Zealandian, little retrace and further continuation to the upside. So this is pretty much where we were, and you can see yourself what happened since. Retraces and another rally. And now what happens with this pair? We have 20 candles Bollinger Band right here with some blockage of a bearish divergence on a strong resistance area coming from the daily time frame, while the 4-hour chart is the one that makes the cycling for us, right? Now we can use the structure it has for a trend here to enjoy the expected correction. Corrective cycle could be in two waves or any sort of a range, and move inside it. Oops. Sorry for the circles, that has to be lines, right? So I do expect right now it to make the corrective cycle. In such structures, normally this is developing two waves, and once it is completed back to the Fibonacci zones of the entire movement, then we'll be looking to continue with further buys. So long story short, as long as this area holds, I would expect this correction. I do think that the 200 moving average trend is slowly changing here. So getting close to that would be really great conditions. By ideal, we should also be able to see here a bullish hidden divergence for trend continuation, and then we will switch to buys. Meanwhile, on the short term, I believe this is a corrective cycle mode right now. Next one on the list for us is the New Zealandian Canadian, where we expected a new low to be where is that here? A new low to be achieved, and then very likely to see some bounces. So here we are. We got a new low. Actually, we got it continuing even further than just a simple new low. And here we are now, finally, after making the false breakouts on the alternative trend line. Here we are building a structure of 3 higher highs, 3 higher lows. In simple words, I would say that as long as the 61.8 Fibonacci of this movement holds, the idea would be here, retraces and possible by continuation. As a corrective mode to the daily bullish divergence that currently is developing. Now, if we put attention, if we pay attention also to the Bollinger Bands, we can see that we were in a straight band-to-band movement which was duplicated, and we are facing 20 candles right on the lower band with bullish divergence. As long as this low holds, actually 61.8 level holds, we should be experiencing some deeper correction further on. The next one is the dollar yen. We were expecting to see a push to the downside, closer to the 100% Fibonacci right here, and we arrived very close to that. As you can see, we got this push to the downside, very close to that, cleaned the previous low. Oops, let's just draw a line. Cleaned the previous low beautifully, created a bullish divergence, and now very likely the dollar yen is in a corrective cycle. So watching on the weekly chart, there is a good chance that this is becoming a stoppage right here on a psychological level of 105, and while it holds, I would be expecting to see here some corrective cycle towards the zone of 108, 109. The 4-hour chart supports this view by providing 3 higher highs, 3 higher lows, which makes a bullish structure, and that makes me think that we should likely to see a trend, this short-term trend continuation towards the area of 108, 109. Quick observation on the Forex crystal ball statistics. We can see that the third is a very powerful zone for a bullish hold. This is a bullish hold, and this is what we got here. We got a first movement with the retrace. Now we are above the channel, right? The falling channel. You can see also the channel starts to round to the upside, and as it was in the previous time, 2 waves, the expectation would be here the same. We should be facing 2 waves, or at least any sort of ranging conditions. But this or other way around, this is the third of the months, and it was a beautiful hold here, and that's what makes me think that dollar yen is right now in a bullish corrective structure. And as long as it will hold its 61, dynamic 61, why dynamic? Because if this high has to be created further, then the Fibonacci has to be adjusted. So as long as the dynamic 61.8 holds by retraces, should be a good plan for the dollar versus the yen. The next one on our list was the euro dollar, which failed. I was expecting to see after this convergence retraces and further continuation. Let me take you back to the place right here. That was my expectation. As you can see, clearly failed. What's next with the euro dollar? So we do not have a long-term change in terms of cycle related. So I personally think there is a good chance for continuation lower to 105. However, the daily is a double cycle with a bullish divergence. That means we can see some correction fight on the 4-hour chart. By ideal, this is what would happen here. And then we would find, assuming there will be divergence, of course, bearish divergence, then we'll be looking for sells again. Meanwhile, the picture isn't too clear, so I would keep it on neutral as for the beginning of the week, and we'll come to that during the week in the live trading rooms, assuming we will see that forming correctly. Pound New Zealandian, we cashed out our longs as it reached the 50%. Right now I don't have any position there. Pound dollar, we were expecting to see a move down with the corrections, ideally for a new low. So we got that happen slightly below the ideal area, but we got the move down and we made it work. So what's next for this pair? It is a special cycle with a bullish divergence where a first leg inside a corrective mode might be happening now, and the corrective mode could be 2 waves or a range. The fact that the fundamental mass happening, or parliament mass happening currently in the UK, should help for the bulls in that case, as there is a vote for a new law to prevent hard Brexit. Bad for Johnson, good for all the stay in Eurozone supporters. Now, assuming there will be no crazy change, that should continue and be positive impact, and therefore, if this is the first leg developing, it has to be a trending conditions, which we can clearly see here. We have the higher highs, we have the higher lows. So corrections and buys should be the continuous work in that case. So what do we have besides the false breakout here, which started, by the way, all the way here? We also finally have the convergence idea, which supports for the corrective cycle. Very important to note, as this is the structure, the first leg and the structure of a trend, as long as we are above 61.8, to avoid one shot, right? If it happens with one shot below 61.8, put a big X on the pound dollar. Meanwhile, I believe that we are now into the corrective cycle. Corrective cycle could be two waves. Corrective cycle could be, as you already know, by following me, a range. So this is for the pound versus the dollar. CAD yen, we became neutral after it paid 2 weeks ago. Euro yen, we expected to see a new push to the downside. We got it happening all the way to 117 and lower, reached close to the 115, the psychological 115. Right now we are in a blockage. This is a bullish divergence inside a cycle. So my personal expectations here is for a corrective cycle, two waves or a sort of a range. So I would be looking to see buy retraces in the euro versus the yen. New Zealandian dollar, we cashed out previous week, so right now leaving it alone. New Zealandian franc, our expectations was to see a new low reached there, and the 4-hour chart making its own stoppage. Let's take a look what happened there. So we got the move down, which was blocked with a bullish divergence, and the 4-hour chart, as we wanted to see, created a divergence by itself. So the plan worked pretty classically. It looks simply good. And the question is, what's next for this pair? And the way I see that, this behaves like a potential two-wave, double wave cycle. We are holding the 06250 psychological zone. It's crossed slightly below, but holding there. There is a good chance that we are in front of some corrective cycle. Corrective cycle could be two waves, a range. Both scenarios would be acceptable. Currently, I think that the New Zealandian franc should provide another push. And I would be aiming to see that going towards this clearance zone, or ideally even higher. Invalidation would be the rising trend line. If we go below that, I would go neutral to wait and see what happens after. Let's continue and see our next ones. Dollar Canadian. We wanted to see two waves pushing to the downside. So, well, as you can see, it's already after, right? But that's the two waves that we got in play. After that, we got these ranging conditions. Honestly, I don't see anything clear on the dollar Canadian at that moment that fits clearly in the cycle structure. So we also have this massive engulfing from this week, which puts potentially this rising channel under risk. So I wouldn't work with dollar CAD for this, for the beginning of the week. Maybe during the week we would see a clearer picture, but as for now, there is nothing. So the next one is the euro versus the pound, where I wanted to see the two waves and the rally. We got the two waves here. It's completed. Actually, it turned to be three waves. We got the little rally. Well, honestly, it was smaller than I expected. I was expecting more. But what happened at that moment, that this became a ranging cycle after making false breakouts in the top and the bottom inside a 3 lower high, 3 lower low structure. That makes it trading conditions, and that's why during the week I sent this alert for the sell in the daily trading video, as I said before, which you can find inside that channel. And what is expected next with this pair, since there is no blockage with the current developing leg? I believe there is slightly more to go to the downside, so I would be looking for sell the rallies. The current leg, by the way, also supports the idea of the lower highs, lower lows, as you can see in trending conditions, which makes it pretty nice opportunity to look for sell the rallies. Of course, the whole bearish view I would keep as long as we are below the 61.8 of the movement, the developing movement, or in other words, it fits in also in the dropping, falling trend line. So as long as we are below, I'll be looking to sell the rallies. For the short term, not yet confident about the long term in that pair. So the next one is the pound versus the Canadian, where we are playing in a corrective cycle. We are developing the two waves actually inside the range here, as you can see. That's the ranging conditions. So we got that the first push, got the correction, got the second push. At that moment, I would put this under neutral for the long term and look for the rest development. I would not be surprised if we would see here some bearish pressure developing soon. Again, after delivering the corrective mode as wanted to see, not as high as it had the potential to go, but delivered the movement with the pound still hundreds of points inside this movement. And now the picture is less clear to me, would avoid trying to define a longer view here. So that was our Forex view. The rest were other instruments. So before we go to commodities and indices, let's quickly take a look on some new opportunities. One of them is the Australian versus the franc, which I personally like the way it develops. We have a clear cycling structure here, a beautiful daily blockage here with the extreme, right, false breakouts on the lows, holding a psychological 0.65. Looks wonderful. And if we will manage to break above this trend line, the falling trend line, buy retraces would be a great thing to do here. So look at the 4-hour chart, which is building 3 higher highs, 3 higher lows. I believe it should find a way to block here the rallies, create corrective cycle, and then a good idea to look for further buy opportunities. Quick look at the crystal ball statistical numbers. We can see that 11 to 15 fits in perfectly. If we get a correction towards these dates, right, then buys should be good follow up with these supportive areas. Okay, and as per the bearish numbers, also you can see, well, first of all, the top of fifths, which was here, did not provide any sell reasons. The next one are very, very far away. Therefore, retraces and further buys makes a lot of sense in the developing cycle. So this is the Australian versus the franc. And now back to the commodities. Natural gas, we were bullish after the break of the small trend line. Wanted to see the break of the bigger line for a stronger momentum. As you can see, natural gas turned to be one of the best trades at the end of the day, so enjoy your profit. I still expect it to go higher. Of course, corrections are acceptable, but I believe there is more to come. So natural gas works simply beautiful. Next one, and a new one on the list, is the gold. Another one that was shared in the daily videos. So what do we have on this one? That's from the weekly. This is from the daily. 2 false break at the end of the triple cycle. Bearish divergence for our chart created the principle of lower lows, and the bearish convergence looks wonderful, and the 1 hour chart created what I love to see, as you know, structure of the bearish trend. Any corrective cycle in 2 waves or a range, anything like that would be acceptable for sell the rallies would be the plan. We went above a clearance zone, clean stop losses, great activation for bearish pressure. And long story short, since this is trending conditions, as long as we are below the 61.8 to avoid one shot retrace, I would expect that to start a corrective cycle. Of course, it would be great to see the price breaking below the psychological 1500. It would be very good call, and if that happens, we open the doors for the corrective cycle from the daily, and you can see the numbers 1450 or down to 1415. So that's for the gold, which I also find very, very interesting. As per the indices, we had the US, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the German DAX. The German DAX, we were after one of the scenarios was 2 waves correction, and that was one of the scenarios to follow in a triple double structure. Here we are developing, where is my line here? So it did not manage to hold this momentum, straight continuation. It developed the second leg to the upside, which completes this corrective mode. We are holding here massive resistance, as you can see, holding this trend line, as you can see. This is a critical area. So we want to see the break of this rising trend line to start looking for the next sells. If it breaks above the falling trend line, we should be very careful with the next possible sells. And the NASDAQ and the S&P both failed to hold this ranging structure and the break of the trend line. It turned to be false breakout, and at the moment it turns to be false breakout, this is an immediately invalidation scenario for the bearish view. So these two fail to deliver, and right now I don't see anything clear here. Good chance we would see new highs, but wouldn't bet on anything at the moment with the American indices. Pay attention that the non-farm payrolls happened to deliver great numbers, and Powell said that despite that so many analysts and economists expect a recession worldwide and in the US, despite that expectations, the facts and the numbers show that the US economy is still doing good, and the job market proves that. The market is still expecting the Fed to cut the rates in the next few weeks meetings. Will they cut? Will it happen? We will know when the time comes. Not sure how really Powell is in a rush to do such action while the economy is performing good. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. As I mentioned before, the text format for the forecast would be published by Monday, so just come back to the video to the to this weekly video, and you will see the link inside the description, or just go to the blog vladimirribakov.com and enjoy the posts we share for you there. Don't forget, daily video will be available for you in the YouTube channel for watching, and I invite you to the live trading rooms to enjoy from all the trading opportunities we cover day after day, backed up with full trading reports, very detailed trading reports. And that's all. Thank you very much once again for watching. I wish you a wonderful trading week, and I'll see you during the week. Ciao for now.